If you're watching this video, most probably you're preparing for your WSET Level 3 in Wine course. If you didn't watch already, please take a look at our other two videos where we talk about the overview, what to expect from this course, and the other video where we go in detail about how to prepare for WSET Level 3 in Wine theory part of the exam. In this video, we'll go in detail about the tasting part of this exam and how best to prepare for it. My name is Petar, I'm a certified wine educator, WSET diploma student, so let's start. So WSET Level 3 in wines tasting exam is a half an hour exam. When you will be given two wines, one red and one white, and you'll have 41 points available for the two wines, 20 points for a white wine and 21 points for the red. The main difference is that for the red wine you'll also be talking about tannins. In order to pass, you'll need to have minimum of 55% of the available points. If you did your level 2 in wines, the main difference between level 2 and level 3 is that level 3 has a 5-point scale compared to level 2. So on level 3 you'll be talking about intensity medium plus and medium minus. Also for level 3 you'll be talking about not just about the quantity of the tannins but also about the quality of the tannins. And when you come to the conclusion part, you will be assessing not only the quality of the wine but also readiness for drinking and potential for aging. In your study pack you will receive the systematic approach to tasting grid, and on the back side you're going to have the lexicon on how to describe the wines for level 3. So let's go through the grid of the systematic approach to tasting. First we're going to be discussing appearance. Total available marks will be 2. You're going to get points for intensity and color. So a good example of how to describe the appearance of the wine is pale lemon, and you're going to get two marks, one for intensity and one for the color. Poor example would be this wine is pale to medium lemon. You're going to get 1 mark for this. You're not gonna get a mark for the intensity because you didn't choose the intensity. You said pale to medium. You're gonna need to decide, is the wine pale in color or medium. So this is the example of how to describe a nose. The total available mark for the nose is 7. You're going to get 1 point for the intensity, 5 points for the aroma characteristic, and 1 point for the development. So a good example of how to describe this wine is has pronounced intensity and is youthful. So here you describe the intensity and the development, and you go into the describing the characteristic of the wines. Aroma of lemon, green apple, green pear, bell pepper, and wet stone. In total 7 marks. A poor example of description is this wine is medium intensity and is youthful. The aromas of dried apple, lemon, asparagus, bell pepper, vanilla. Here if you describe this wine like this, you're gonna get 4 points. Something that I didn't mention is that we are describing young Sauvignon Blanc. So you're not gonna get points for vanilla because the wine didn't age in oak, and young Sauvignon Blanc doesn't have aroma of dried apple, and the intensity is not medium. For Sauvignon Blanc in most cases it's pronounced. On the palate you'll have total available marks 9 and 10, 9 for the white wine and 10 for the red wine, and then these 9 points for white wines will be divided between the structure of the wine and the flavor characteristic of the wine. So a good example with full marks will be wine is dry, high acidity, medium alcohol, medium bodied. So you're covering your structure, and then you're covering your flavor characteristics. It has pronounced flavor intensity of lemon, green apple, gooseberry, bell pepper, wet stone, and medium finish. And for this you get full 9 marks. A poor example that will only give you 4 marks is the wine is off dry, medium plus acidity, medium alcohol, medium body. It has pronounced flavor intensity like on the nose, and medium finish. You lost 5 marks here because you described the wine as off dry. Sometimes people confuse the fruitiness of the wine with the sweetness. Medium plus is acidity. Sauvignon Blanc from a cool climate will have high acidity. And you lose 3 marks because you don't mention a specific flavor that you get on the palate, even though they're probably the same characteristic as on the nose, but you need to mention them, and most importantly, you need to write them down. When you come to the conclusion part of the tasting, you're going to have 2 available marks. One is going to be for the quality. The second point will be available for the assessing readiness for drinking or potential for aging. When you're assessing the quality level, you're going to need to use the Blitz system: balance, length, intensity, and complexity. You're going to read what you wrote, and basically your description of the wine will guide you to the quality of the wine. If you're gonna get outstanding wine, basically balance, length, intensity, and complexity, it will have all checks. Everything is gonna be positive. If the wine is very good, it means it's gonna be lacking in one of these characteristics. If the wine is just good, it's probably gonna have 2 positive parts and 2 negative. If the wine is just acceptable, it's going to have 1 positive remark that you can talk about, and then you're not going to get a poor quality wine or a wine with a fault on the exam. When you're discussing the potential for for aging or readiness for drinking, you need to think about the characteristics in order to understand if the wine has this characteristic in order to potentially age and get better. So a good conclusion for Sauvignon Blanc for a cool climate is good quality, drink now, not suitable for aging or further aging. Maybe this wine is going to be even very good in quality, but definitely when you come to the potential for aging, this wine, even though it's very good in quality, you need to understand that not all wines are meant to age longer. You need to, when you're assessing this readiness for aging, you need to think about, is this wine going to get any better in the future, in the few years, than it's right now. A poor conclusion for this wine is good quality, can drink now, but has a potential for aging. You're going to get 1 mark for the quality, but you're going to lose marks on the potential for aging. Sauvignon Blanc is not really a wine that is going to get any better than it is in the moment. When you have a Sauvignon Blanc, the best that it can be is right away when it's fresh. So some final tips on how to pass the tasting part of the exam, and I'm telling you this from my personal experience. Do not focus on thinking what's the grape variety or the wine that you're tasting. Just focus on the wine that you have in front of you and the characteristic that that wine has. If you start thinking, is this a Chardonnay, is this a Sauvignon Blanc, you know, you're maybe gonna think, you know, like in a template way, how this wine should be described. That's a wrong way to approach tasting, and you're not going to become a good wine taster if you taste wine in this way. So just focus on the characteristic on the wine in front of you, and trust your gut, trust your first feeling. Remember to follow the grid. Remember the points that you get per for the sight, smell, the structure, and the flavor characteristic, and the conclusion. If you miss to describe the acidity or any of the characteristic, you're going to lose the point. So follow and remember the grid. Then describe the wine, describe the flavor characteristic in order. For example, if you get a complex wine that has primary, secondary, and tertiary aromas, for example, don't be all over the place where you're gonna start maybe with a little bit of tertiary aromas because they're the most intensive, and then go you know, to describing the barrel, and then forget the primary fruit. Start with primary, secondary, and tertiary. Help your examiner to understand the development of the wine. Describe the fruit and the characteristic of the wine. This is especially important for if you get like a simple wine, like for example Italian Pinot Grigio. Use words to describe the development of the fruit, like ripe or unripe. Try to describe the characteristic of the wine. Is the wine complex or is the wine simple? Is the wine generic or it has a very specific aromas? Listen to your educator during the course. They are the ones that know how to taste the wine, and I understand that everyone's palate is different, slightly different, but they're going to give you a good guidance on the characteristics of the wines, and on the end they're the ones that are evaluating your exam. So follow their guidance during the course. Sometimes is high or sometimes it's low. I know that you might get in a temptation to judge the characteristics of the wine all medium plus, medium plus, medium plus. Sometimes it's just high, and you need to shoot for that. You need to follow your instinct. If you get, for example, like I mentioned before in the previous videos for Sauvignon Blanc, you know, when you're judging the acidity for that kind of wine, it's high. It's not medium plus. You need to go for high description of high acidity for that kind of wine. Also, if you get like a tannic Barolo, a Nebbiolo grape, you know, most probably that wine will have high tannins, and it's fine for you to describe that tannins as high. On the end, take your time because the tasting part is half an hour, and 15 minutes per wine is going to be more than enough. On the end, you're going to evaluate the quality and the potential for aging and readiness for drinking. And the description that you have that's leading you towards the conclusion, you know, it should have a logical sense. For example, if you're saying that the wine has potential for aging, but the wine doesn't have flavor intensity or the structure that it needs in order to develop and change and get better, then, you know, it doesn't have potential for aging. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was useful and that it will help you pass your tasting part of the exam. This is one of the 3 videos that we made in order to help students pass their WSET Level 3 in wines. If you didn't watch the other 2 videos, you can watch them on our YouTube channel. And if you have any additional questions regarding WSET courses and dates, you can contact us directly, and also you can visit our website wineway.org. And when you do take your WSET exam, good luck.